Let us continue with Standard 8 Science, Lesson 11 Force and Pressure, Part 2. Now we have studied about the different games, volleyball, cricket, etc., where the players apply force on the ball. Here, the speed and direction of the moving ball changes due to the application of a force. As already studied, a change in speed, direction, or both is described as change in its state of motion. The state of rest is called the state of zero. An object, both at rest or motion, are its states of motion. Many times, application of force does not result in a change in the state of motion. Example: a wall cannot be pushed by us, or a heavy box cannot move even after applying maximum force. Now let us talk about the second effect of force, that is, force can change the shape of an object. Some examples are of rubber band, sponge, and spring. A rubber band, when stretched, it increases in size, and when it is released, it comes back to the original size. Similarly, sponge, when pressed, it becomes different shape, and when it is released, it comes back to the original shape. Spring also, when we press it, it becomes in a different shape, and when the force is removed, it comes back to the same size. So we can say that when applying force, the shape also changes of an object. Refer the table given 11.2. The example 1 is a lump of dough that has to be pressed by hands. The shape of dough is changed by applying force. Second example is of spring which is fixed on a bicycle seat. When we sit, the spring is pressed and the shape is changed. When the force is removed, it comes back to the original position. A rubber band suspended from a hook fixed on a wall. The shape changes by pulling it or by hanging a weight. Next is a plastic scale placed between two bricks. When the weight is put on a plastic scale, due to the force exerted by weight, the plastic scale bends down. From these examples, we can say that object cannot move by itself, it cannot change the speed by itself, and it cannot change direction by itself, and its shape also cannot change by itself. So, on the basis of the nature of the interaction between two or more objects, forces can be classified into two types: contact force and non contact force. First one is contact force. When two objects comes in contact with each other, the force exerted is called the contact force. Generally, to apply force on an object, our body has to be in contact with the other object. Then only the force can be applied by an object on another. That is called the contact force. There are two types of contact force. First is muscular force and second is frictional force or friction. Muscular force. The force caused by the action of muscles in our body is known as muscular force. Some examples of the muscular force are: first is movement or bending of our body. Second is the process of digestion, that is, food enters into the alimentary canal due to the muscular force. Third, lungs expand and contract while we inhale or exhale during breathing. Fourth is lifting an object. All these are now muscular forces. Animals also make use of muscular force to perform various tasks. Refer the figure 11.9. Bullock, horses, etc. use muscular force to carry out various tasks. For performing such tasks, they apply muscular force. Since muscular force is applied when it is in contact with an object, it is called contact force. Now next one is frictional force or friction. The force which acts on all the moving objects and its direction is always opposite to the direction of motion. Let us take some examples. First is a ball rolling on the ground comes to rest after some time. It is the force of friction that brings the ball to rest. Second is a boat comes to rest when we stop rowing it. Here, friction between water and the boat brings the boat to a stop once you stop rowing. It is also a contact force as two objects are in contact. Now, the next force is the non contact force, a force exerted by an object on another object without being in contact with it is called non contact force. Non contact force acts when bodies are not physically in contact. Now, the types of non contact force. First is the magnetic force. A force exerted by magnet on iron objects is the magnetic force. Refer the figure 11.10. We have already studied that like poles repel each other and unlike poles attract each other. Now take a pair of bar magnets. Bring one end of the bar magnet near the end of other magnet, making sure that they do not touch each other. We observe that the ends repel each other. Now bring the other end of magnet near the same end of the magnet. The magnet observes attraction. A magnet can exert a force on another magnet without being in contact with it, so the force exerted by a magnet is called a non-contact force. Now the next one is electrostatic force. Force exerted by a charged body on another charged or uncharged body is known as electrostatic force. Refer 11.11. Take a plastic straw, cut it into two pieces and suspend one of them from the edge of table with the help of thread. Now hold the other piece and rub its free end with a sheet of paper. Bring rubbed end of the straw near the suspended straw, making sure two pieces do not touch each other. Next, rub the free end of suspended straw with a sheet of paper. Bring the piece of straw that was rubbed earlier with the paper near the free end of suspended straw. Now let us see what can we observe. We observe that the straw rubbed with paper attracts another straw, but if it has been rubbed with a sheet of paper, it will repel the another straw. A straw acquires electrostatic charge after it has been rubbed with a sheet of paper. Such a straw is an example of charged body. The bodies are not in contact, therefore, it is an example of non-contact force. The next is gravitational force. An apple falls down from a tree when it is detached from it. A pencil or a pen falls down to the ground when it slips off our hand. Objects or things falls down towards the earth due to the force of gravity. This is an attractive force which acts on all objects. Water in rivers flow downward due to the force of gravity. Every object, small or big, exerts a force on every other object. This force is known as the gravitational force. An object which is in a hand, as soon as we release it, moves downwards. It falls down towards the earth because the earth pulls them. What is that pull? It is an attraction between the object and the earth. And this attractive force is the force of gravity or gravitational force. Now this we have talked about the different forces. Now our next topic will be the pressure. We'll continue in the next class. Thank you.